So Chris just told me to make professional because he
That's
did
not what
not.
I said. I said make it profesh, man.
He did not think that I had the ability
That's not what I
to
said.
actually be professional. When we are and this is the last thing we are recording on a night, and usually the last things we record on a night, they get pretty sloppy.
And you are not right now. Good job.
No, thank you.
10
Thank
out
you,
of 10,
Mom.
buddy. No, because the last two times you brought in the episode during the second segment, you go, hello. And then you make an awkward pause. How are you? And it's like, I know you're talking to me, but then I'm like doing shit.
Who else would I be talking to?
Our fucking fans, you piece of shit host.
Now I'm a piece of shit host. We had an amazing interview, but before we get to that, I think you want to talk about some beers, right?
Yeah, actually, you know what, Colin? I'd like you to read this beer because you need more to do. It's the second one, not the first one, the second one. I need you to read it in your most radio voice.
It's the Off the Beaten Patch. Pictured right, by the way. Mm-hmm. Pictured right. It's a dark pumpkin pie ale, 5%. You know, 5%. When I go to a craft brewery, I want something that gets me to where I want to be.
And typically where you want to be
is home.
And it's also 5%.
Now we have the weather is cooling down. So that means it is pumpkin season, spelled C-Z-N. And I'm not going to say...
C-Z-N?
S-Z-N.
That's fine. Letters are hard.
But I'm not... But I'm not going to say I hate it because at first when I saw S-Z-N, I did hate it. I'm not going to say I hate it now. I'll just say I hate it. So naturally, we just had all caps, we just had to brew a pumpkin beer. This beer is deliciously malty. Chris is never going to let me do this again.
Never.
With all the flavors you know and love in pumpkin pie. You cannot get this to go, so you can get fucked if that's what you wanted. This is the Off the Beaten Patch beer.
I am in love with you. And that's so wholesome. But also fucking
I read
terrible.
it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, you read it. That's right.
I definitely read it.
It sounded like you kind of had like a bit of just like inflection Tourette's, and it was amazing.
Wait, you talk about Tourette's way too much in this forthcoming episode anyway.
No. I talked about the shakes.
You did use the T word.
I didn't use Tourette's.
You did.
That's the first time I've said it in this episode. Check me right now.
Not true. That's
Listen
not
back
true.
through this.
I was in the room.
No.
Listen to this.
That's not how this works.
Oh, okay. Write in, everybody. That is cperry@amazon.net.
Yeah. Anyway, this was an episode.
This is an episode I'm never gonna forget. You know what? And I'll be honest with you. We'll
good.
Put,
I hope you would be.
We'll put a peek, and I think this is why you're all salty and why you've been salty the last 45 minutes. It didn't occur to me until we actually pressed record that you and Corey are best friends, and you were in a band for the longest time.
One of his best friends.
That's very true. Well, what'd you call me earlier? An acquaintance? There was something like that.
No, I think I might have also said one of my best friends.
Yeah. Well, we got 2-3 questions into it, and it got real, and things got real.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And I know you don't like that, but I think
like I do. I wasn't expecting it.
Right, but I think it was good. And I think it was good for the both of you. Corey was so open and so honest about everything, and you were too. And
yeah.
I did this interview. Well, obviously, it struck a chord. It touched you in some type of way. And you're too pissed off to think about it now. But
am I pissed?
But like, what do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's something where it's like there's a time and a place, and so I think for me, I don't spend every day thinking about stuff.
I never knew this band meant that much to you, and that's not like saying anything bad about Samuel Powers. I'm just saying I never knew that all of this meant.
Oh yeah. I mean, like Corey's my dude, right? It's like, I mean, like if he called me, and same thing with you, right? It's like if either of you called me and said, "Hey man, I need something," like I need a place to stay, I need just a couple seconds to be around somebody. It's like, sure, like it would be the, hey, whatever you need, like I'll be there kind of thing. And so it's like with that, it's like Corey's like been, as we kind of got into this episode, it's like the beginning of his mental breakdown. Like I was there for it. And
right.
and the thing that was crazy too is like we his car. He says he's not a bad driver. And he is an excellent driver. Rain Man reference. He is also an insured driver. Shout out to Maryland laws. And with that, he does get in accidents with deer more often than other people I've ever met. That being said, we would drive together. He would drive to my house, park his car, and then we'd drive out to Hagerstown. So every week I got 30 minutes with him in the car. And we got to hang out. We got to talk about what's going on. And it's like, it was really cool to kind of hear full circle, because I've heard a lot of these parts of these songs before tonight and their final version. But I've not heard the lyrics. And so then it was cool to be able to listen through the songs, obviously during the episode, but then also before when he sent them to us, I was like, oh, this is where he was going with this. This is him talking about a story. And so that was really cool for me to see that full circle, and just be really good for what I know is good for him.
Was this the first time that you, though, personally were confronted with maybe some emotions regarding the last band you were in?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and I think I'm pretty intent on not talking about those things, because
you're good at that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, specifically with that, because like there's so many layers to it. It's like in the same way as like Corey was talking about like Twin Radio specifically. It's like, was it the best band ever? No. Were they really good at what they did? Sure. Were they destined for greatness? No. But like at a certain point, like he can still look at it and say, hey, this was good for what it was. And this meant a lot for me as a person at that time. And I can say that with every band I've was in, Baggage and all. But it's not something that like, because of and as he said it so well, the bitter end, that's not something that I try to look at, because like it is hard to kind of process all of the good without like also having to process the bad. And I've already processed it, and so just revisiting it just isn't really healthy.
Oh, what do you mean it's not healthy? I don't know about that.
So, so I've come to peace with it, right? Like, so from what has happened and like all that kind of stuff, like I'm very, what needed to be done was, and the outcome was what it was supposed to be.
But there was no resolution.
Well, but that's okay, right? Like,
but you saw the effect it had on you tonight. If you just start to talk, right?
Well, but the question that you asked though, that kind of like, and people will listen to the episode, was like, what do I miss doing anything with Corey? Like, like do I miss it, like being in a band with Corey? And it's like, sure. And so I think that's like the tough part is like, of course I do. Would I want to start one now with him? Hell no. It's just like, but
I hope he listens to this.
He apparently he does. That's what he said. So, but with that though, it's like, that band did a lot for me and for us as a band, like during that time. And it was like a really formative thing for me. Like, me and B pretty much wrote a lot of the songs towards the end. And that's something that like I miss all the time.
As it sits right now at this moment, does it more hurt or is it more beautiful? Which one?
I think it's both. I don't think it's
No.
I don't think it can be one or the other, because I think one or the other means that like there's like you said, a resolution, like there wasn't.
Do you want resolution?
I mean, what's resolution?
That's in the
yeah. I mean, but it's like I think the resolution is where it's at. Like I think what was supposed to be is what is, which sounds super hippie, but like,
are you at peace?
Oh, I mean, there's nothing that could have gone differently. So it's
that
like,
didn't answer the question. Are you at peace?
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah. Like I know there wasn't another option, right? Like, the moves that were there were the only moves that were there, and it sucks, and it just kind of is what it is. So it's like, do I miss playing with Corey? Sure, but like, would I have changed anything? No way. So, but it was cool to be able to talk to them. It was cool to kind of be able to hear where he's at, because like you said, and this is something that was kind of interesting too. It's like, so Double Motorcycle put out a record in January of some year. And it was the last record, and I think it was right was the January of 2020. Is that right?
No, the last record we did was the pandemic record.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it would have been 2021.
2021. Okay. So it's like, I actually think about this pretty often. It's like, I don't think we would have survived. Like, I think it would have been very difficult as friends to have still done a band going through a pandemic. Like I don't know how the group of us would have done it.
Well, we lived together. That's how we did it.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Which makes sense. But like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's like, it was cool for me to kind of hear Corey's take on like, I mean, everybody was in isolation because of necessity, during that pandemic. So I guess part of it was kind of like a relief, like, hey, I'm glad it ended the way that it did, because trying to like work through a pandemic as a band and trying to function as like humans with families and with people in their lives that like, we're trying to protect and do all these things and trying to figure shit out. Like we would have figured it out, but like it wouldn't have been fun.
I'll ask you this one last question. Do you miss it? Do you miss it though? Do you miss it? Do you want, like, when you think about it, and when somebody asks you a question like, do you miss it? You can just simply say yes or no, and it just goes from there. That's your own thing. That's not really what I'm asking. What I'm asking is if like you're alone at night, or you, I don't know, you get 15 minutes or 30 minutes by yourself, and you got the YouTube on your phone or on your TV or something, and you have Spotify, and you have the songs that you were a part of, and you listen back and you're like, is there a part of you that makes you want to text Corey or Brandon or somebody and just say, God, that was a good band, I miss it?
No.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, don't listen back to any of it.
Cool.
Yeah. Cold.
That's what I would say, because I think it
cool
has an effect.
Oh no, it does. But I again, it's like, people that know, but it's like, like how things kind of went down. It was just like, it's not I think towards the end, I thought, hey, like maybe we could start something else, with the majority of the members in the band, but like it was such a deep wound that like that wasn't even possible. So I think it's like, I just watched, and by the time this came out, it was, it's a couple of weeks ago, but it's like the episode of House of the Dragon, I guess, on HBO Max. Shout out to our sponsor. Where oh no, just kidding. Fuck, it's the other show that's like House of the Dragon. Rings of Power, and the
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings
one.
Yeah. Shout out by Prime Video. The
Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football. My employer. Thank you. All that to say, there was an orc that ended up shooting an arrow or stabbing this woman, and they had to like cauterize the wound on like the front and the back. And so it's like the wound was so deep, like coming from that band for a multitude of reasons, that like you just had to kind of cauterize it and move on. So it never really like got to heal, but then you had to kind of like burn it to move on. So I think for me, it's like, hey, like, sure, like there's aspects of it that I do miss, but it's like, what would I try to resurrect it?
Do you think that's at the core of why you're so uninterested in trying to play music anymore?
I think it's the same thing if you ask like a divorcee, like, hey, like you ready to jump back in like the dating pool? Nah.
Will there be a time though? 5 years?
I don't know. It's like I think for now it's like I'm in a totally different place in life. It's like But
you can still love music. You still have to play music, and it's not even that. It's the bond. Sure. The connection that you have with Corey was so apparent tonight, and this interview, as you guys will listen to, anybody who's listening coming up, you will see that it's a very real thing, and you can have. Do you think you can have that with somebody else? Because I think you can.
Yeah, I think I can, but I think there's a natural gravity of like, oh, like I miss being in a band with Corey, like for sure.
Right, sure.
But like trying to jump back into that thing of like going through that process, it's like, it's almost like, hey, do I want to date in the same friend circle of the woman that I separated from?
But you're not going to go play jazz music. You're not going to go like start a whole different project that gets you separated from everybody.
Right. So then that's where it's like, okay, like, am I going to go back and like eat where I shit? And that doesn't feel really good.
But you love Corey.
I love Corey.
And you love Brandon, right?
And I love Brandon. I love Broody. So it's like, I love those guys. And I love Dan as well. It's like, I do. So it's just like, it's tough where it's like just in that spot of it sucks. But it's like being confronted with your demons is hard. And and as Corey kind of alluded to, it's like when you're not hiding behind an allegory or a concept album, it's real. And so I think that's the hardest part about being an adult and doing the right thing. And sorry for people that are listening that are like, oh God, like real life stuff. But honestly, like, it's like people that are, we know our podcast demographic. Thank you, Apple, and all that kind of stuff. But it's like,
68 to 94.
yeah, it's only people that are in nursing homes and are on feeding tubes that listen to us. But we're keeping them alive, one joke at a time. But it's like what we do know is like, hey, like as you get older, it's like it's either much easier to do the right thing, or it's much easier to ignore it. And in that situation, we chose to do the right thing. And it is what it is. And so it's like, do I miss it? Sure. But would I change anything about it? Like, no. Like it sucks, and it is what it is. And I do miss being in a band with Corey, but I think it does add into that little bit of bitterness for sure.
I think you don't regret it, but I also think you miss it more than you thought you did.
Oh, no. Sure. I mean, like, I think, yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree with that.
And I think that is a very special part of you.
Oh, sure, dude. It was like, I mean, that band did the coolest things that I've ever gotten to do. I mean, like the fun things that we got to do with that band.
Tour with double motorcycle.
It was fun. And honestly, that tour was fun.
That was
like the shows were good. Like and people were cool, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. So so for those that are still here,
this is the most beautiful episode of this podcast I've ever been a part of. Bring them in, Chris.
So this is Corey Highland, my brother, my friend, my lover, the guy who's seen me naked more than probably my wife has.
Especially his butt.
Especially my butt. Shout out to the Bottle Rocket video that's on the internet. We will
YouTube.
not link it in the show notes.
I've seen it.
But it does exist. We're talking about his new project, Ugly Little Devils. We're talking about him and his friends in the band Chrome Rodeo. Talking about life, talking about mental health. It's not a super serious episode, but I think it does kind of cover some of the heavy stuff we talked about, and Corey kind of opened up quite a bit publicly that he doesn't normally do. So I'm excited for other people to get to hear the man that I love, Corey.
Okay, we're live. We're on. Start. Nobody will ever know what joke that was.
No, it was the best one. I already forgot.
It is my pleasure, my absolute pleasure to welcome Corey into this. I don't know why this hasn't happened sooner, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you exactly why.
You got to
eat the mic,
dude.
I will tell you exactly why this has not happened earlier. It's because I said, Chris, I really like the podcast. And Chris
not
said,
true.
And Chris said, that's really cool. Well, you need an Instagram to be on it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have an Instagram for 2 years.
I don't have an Instagram.
I don't want to have one, but I have one.
You don't know you have an Instagram.
Oh, I have an Instagram?
Of course, I made one for your fans. It's a fan driven page.
The worst part of it is that I didn't put two and two together, and I turned on the Instagram because I missed the memes. And it wasn't long before he was like, "Hey, somebody canceled. Do you want to be on?" Like, he can't even just ask me. There's got to be like some reason that he's asking me. It's kind of sad.
You're best friends with Chris. Come on.
We go back a long,
How many years?
No. So you say best friends like it's Tuesday. It's
well, it is Wednesday.
Chris, why don't you let me take this one?
Okay.
Oh, look at this.
I have known Chris since we were 14, 15.
It's like 3 years ago.
And the
14.
picture I want to paint of how we met was he stole my clothing and accessories to try and look like me. And that's not a dig. It was actually, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Of imitation, that's what it is.
You heard what I just said.
Yeah.
We'll edit that out. Don't worry about it. No, but yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I think you were the first like cool friend I had, because it was like,
now you're just sucking my
No, because
I've heard him pull this shit all the time.
It was funny. A couple weeks ago we had Ryan Nicholson on, and
he said the same thing.
And because Ryan Nicholson was also cool as fuck, because he was in the church.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. Like I said, I came to play nice. You had a lot of cool friends, because whether or not you were annoying at age 14, you were still cool. You were into the cool music.
Look at this. Now he's being nice. Look at this.
You had a cool guitar. I remember that. I thought your guitar was cool.
Was it the white one or the black one?
The other white SG.
The white SG was best.
Anyway, Chris and I go way back. We are very close.
Yeah.
I don't
have that white SG anymore.
We had the band.
Yeah, so here's the problem,
really
and we're going to jump right in right the fuck now, because I'm here, and I happen to be in a room with two people who were in a band for the longest time, in a band that was very important to both of you individually.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, that band does not exist anymore.
No.
It doesn't.
Pour one out.
So now I have, I have
the studio floor.
I have at least a few questions, and we're gonna not wait to do it. Do you miss playing with each other?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
I mean, I can go through.
You should have seen the look on Chris's face when I asked, like, how dare you ask this
He
shit?
did get a little.
Right?
Yeah, he did get a little.
Yeah, well, because
twinge in his eye.
because it's like there's so much to like from the whole writing process. Like, it is it's an awesome thing to be able to like.
Chris is working through these feelings right now, dude.
It just came over me.
Yeah, I know.
It's a wave over here.
Like to be honest, like I'm not wasn't expecting it, but
there's
it's like
a lot to it.
I know.
That's
I know. Ooh, I didn't expect this. Sorry, guys.
Oh, dude.
Sorry. No. But to write with somebody that gets excited about the same things you get excited about, it's the best. Like, I love, dude. Like,
I'm gonna kiss him before this is over.
Dude, this is
You're gonna see
beautiful. This
two
is
grown
so
men
fucking
kiss on the
beautiful.
mouth.
Yeah,
All right, let me
yeah.
compose myself. I've only had one beer, so it's not alcohol. Let's be honest.
He's
but,
had
but
12.
with this, it's like this is the first time I think we've really gotten to process this, and it's weird. It's here on air.
That is true.
Don't
So-
come on a podcast with a journalist.
No,
and
that's a
you
good
and you
point.
should love this because this is what you do. But it's like, but with that, it's like because Corey and I have known each other for so long, it gets into a point of like, oh, we like the same bands or we listen to a lot of the same music. We love music, and so then when it came to writing, it kind of got to that point of like, hey, we want the song to be really fucking good. And so then what was cool about it is we got to the point of like, hey, this riff, let's dig into this, let's try it. And we would always, at least like Corey and I, just only talking about us.
You're forgetting.
Yeah.
3/5.
Yeah. But like talking about just Corey and I in this moment, it's like I knew when we would always humor the other person, like, hey, let's try this out. Let's see how it sounds. And then it was always objectively, yes, I like that. That was cool. Or, hey, no, I don't. And then you got to work it out like as brothers. And that's something that like I've never had until that band. And so I think that's what I missed the most is like it's objective parts. And I mean, obviously like that's the writing process and the creative process, but also like touring was the best in that band and out of any touring band I've
You
ever
could
been
pay
in.
him to do anything. It wouldn't even have to be a lot of money. He drank pond water once for pocket change.
Pocket change. But yeah, I mean, like from touring experiences to writing stuff, it's like the best times of being in a band was that band, for me. And so I think, but for talking about you specifically, like what I miss is just like that creative process of like, I know I'm not easy to work with. Also,
You?
Hey, you're telling me, buddy.
Wait, you? Oh.
me, and and I also know it's like there was a lot of other egos in that. But then when we got to work together, like for the most part, it's like we all kind of knew where to give and where to break. And so I do kind of, I miss that.
And now Corey.
No, it was very sweet. I wasn't expecting you to be that sentimental. I was going to ask you when we started, do you have a better attitude today than the last time I saw you? And clearly you do. I mean, so far.
Well, this is my other full-time job.
Well, Corey, though, let's throw this back to you, though, because Chris really did actually respond to the question. So now I'm going to force you to answer the question. And when it comes to that, especially just from my experience with your guys' band, I think you had a lot invested in that. I think you really liked being in that band. No, did I misread that?
No, you didn't. It's I was like, I'm a little nervous about being on this right now. Like, first
There's
off,
nobody
thanks.
listening. Don't worry.
No, I'm listening.
My mom's
listening
listening.
to us.
Yeah.
No, seriously, because I love what you guys are doing, and I really like to be a part of this right now. This feels really good.
Well, you paid to get on here, so.
Well, we don't need our audience to know the details, Chris. No, I woke up at like 3 a.m., just couldn't sleep, and so I'm just laying there thinking. This is early this morning, and the things that I think I want to talk about, granted, I'm not driving the ship, but, I have things I want to talk about with what I've been working on. And,
yeah, definitely.
And one of the things is, it's going to get personal. I'm going to get personal. I'm not sorry. I've been nervous about this, thinking about this all day.
Do it, dude.
The last 8 years have been really hard. I've been going through a lot of stuff. and particularly the last 3, I've been really living under a rock. And that coincidentally, or not coincidentally, you know, that story goes back to Samuel Powers. And so for me, Samuel Powers was, if you'll indulge me to try to run through a chronology.
Please
quick.
do. Please.
I got to go back before Samuel Powers because all this has to do with what I'm working on now and why. And Chris, this is so interesting because over the last 8 years, you for half of those years you were weekly there for all of this shit I'm going to talk about. And then for the last 4 years, you know, we've been around each other but not as closely, of course, because when you're in a band like that together, you're together all the fucking time.
Right.
Yeah.
You're in each other's underwear.
Yeah.
And it's good. You know, you want to be there. It's a part of the creative process. And like he said, having a bond he would describe as brothers, which is so 21st century. I went to Christian church when I grew up. There's a lot of truth to it. You know, we were founded upon those friendships first. It's not like we met to start a band. We met and we all liked music and we needed to tour. We needed to write. And
we did it in different bands.
Yeah. Samuel Powers started as a joke.
Yes.
And then that's where my story begins.
That was the first thing you ever told me about Samuel Powers.
Joke.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, because the band that I was in with Brandon Fingerman, I've got to mention him, the guitar player of Samuel Powers, and my best friend since we were 10.
See, now he says best friend because it makes sense. No, just to make sure
we grew up
the record.
Across the street from each other. You're one of my best friends.
I know. But B is
am I on trial? I gotta have one best friend. That's it.
Yes.
That's a little
according
selfish.
to me. According to Could Be Better Studios, that's the edict.
That is.
Don't make me crawl across this table.
Hey, all that I know is when I heard you and B sing the Everly Brothers in the first ever Frederick playlist performance that
we did acoustic
ever recorded
on the paper.
Yeah. On the paper, yeah.
No, that is very interesting that both of you are so intertwined with what I'm talking about. Anyway, to try and run this down quick and not eat up all the time.
No, we have plenty of time. There's no rush. We're
the
good.
internet doesn't end.
Yeah, nothing
That's
ends.
fair.
Yeah. I think we went like an hour last time, so it's all good.
That band was called Twin Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that band.
And I started that band as a pop rock jerk off project because I was tired of screaming in hardcore bands.
It's a good band.
Thank you.
It really was.
The whole point of that band for me was I wanted to get better at singing.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite artists just pushed their voice to the max. I was in love with prog rock. As a keyboardist, Rick Wakeman is my idol.
Fuck yeah.
Close to the Edge is my jam.
Fuck yeah. Yes. What's up?
And then Between the Buried and Me, Colors, that
Game changer.
changed everything for me. I got Alaska. I heard Selkies, The Endless Obsession. That was the first song by BTBM I heard. And it changed everything because to me, we grew up playing metal and hardcore. And to me, keyboard was such a side piece instrument. Mm-hmm. And that's my first love. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it all just came together. And I said, you know what? I want to play keyboard. I want to have a drum throne like Chris Martin from Coldplay because I think it looks cool. And I want to have an 88 key keyboard, which was way too big. His name was BK. Named after my favorite restaurant at the time, the BK Lounge. Oh, okay. So I did the Twin Radio thing, and that was such a rewarding project in all of the ways that I didn't intend it to be.
Sure.
I never got what I wanted out of it, and I'm really glad that I didn't.
You guys, you have to, and I don't want to interrupt any of this at all, but that was how I was introduced to you.
I know.
That was before I knew any of you.
No, I remember. So B, Brandon, we call him B. B had gotten in touch with you with the Project Playlist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you were doing the acoustic performances.
And I said, hey, I have this idea. Or we have these big ass rolls of paper. We have a few microphones and video cameras, and maybe we could just do something. And you guys were like, "Sure, let's just do it."
No, it was awesome.
It was amazing, man. And I remember like you did a couple takes because the first one you were like, "Man, I don't like those harmonies." I'm like, "They were great." You're like, "No, let's do them again," and we did them again.
You're poking holes in my.
No, because the reason that I say that because you guys were the easiest of anybody that I worked with through that because there were so many people who were like.
Divas.
Can we do that again? Can we do that again? And like at the end of the day, and I think because at the time everybody was kind of feeling it out, like what is going on here? What are we doing? like you got through 2 or 3 takes. You're like, fuck it, I'm done. That's it.
Well, no. And I remember when we showed up, and that's what I was going to say. When we showed up and I officially met you, it was easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we talked a little bit about
music
about, we liked.
Yep.
And it was like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
But it's also you and B, and so it's like, you know, like again,
right.
Best friends. It's like you guys could literally go and play anywhere and feel so comfortable. Like you might feel uncomfortable.
Well, I didn't feel comfortable standing on top of bales of paper. Was
Yeah.
weird.
But
at
if
first.
you watch that, if you go back and you watch that,
You
you
look
look
fine.
like a rock star.
Yeah,
You do.
Well,
In
it's
my
because they wore
weird-
leather. It's
in
'cause-
my weird tan suede shoes. There were no leather jackets then.
No,
This
no,
was
no.
pre-leather jackets.
Stop, because
It
you
was
knew I was
pre-leather
going to leather
jackets. It was
jackets. You
pre-leather
knew I was
jackets.
going to leather jackets because my favorite was like Twin Radio. It was like because the band before Corey was in was like a near, and so it's all like fucking tank tops and like big like Hot Topic print shirts, and then all of a sudden went to like fucking cool haircuts to fucking leather jackets like that. And it was cool. It was a look, and it worked. Also, shout out to your fashion designer, Jared Youngbar.
It was too much. And we knew it, but we were trying something new because coming from metal core, progressive metal, hardcore, where it's all about the pit, two-stepping, and growls, you know, and that was where this is coming to ahead for me in that band up to Twin Radio was I said, you know what, I want to sing more because this is an instrument, and that is something I'll do a quick side note on, and anybody that knows me knows that I'm not shy about my opinions on this.
Right.
I hate bands that do not treat voice like it's an actual instrument.
Right.
It drives me nuts. They tack it on at the very end, and they could be incredible at guitar, incredible at drums, incredible at keys, and then they're just like, we need singing, so Jeff, why don't you sing? And then Jeff goes and he goes,
That was a good impression.
and that's
Jeff.
it. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Jeff? Out on the okay, that was a double motorcycle song. But I wonder when it came to that, because here's the other secret that we've never talked about. That same year you guys played in the street. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And I
Did you book it?
no, because you guys were on the creek.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because and it was
We've
raining
done in the street twice.
and
Was this the Bad U2 cover time, or was this the other time?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
what's
that was in
what's
the second one?
What's the
that was yes.
Okay.
the band that had the girl lead singer that went to Nashville?
Cheshire.
No. Caroline Rogues.
I don't know.
Oh,
'Cause-
Carousel Rogues.
Carousel Rogues. Yeah,
Oh,
Shout out
that's
to
it.
Carousel. Yeah.
They were on the same stage you guys were at.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out to it's Caitlin.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they played first.
Isley Jr. Amazing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
Caitlin
Isley Jr.
Nethery.
So
That's who
fucking
they
good.
were.
She was
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was
so good.
incredible.
Yeah.
I hope they're still going. Does anybody know anything about them?
Husband and wife are still doing stuff, I think, in Nashville.
He is so handsome.
They are.
That's true.
Yes.
She's
And-
very pretty too. They
Yes.
were a good duo.
Yes.
And didn't
Because
David
looks are everything.
Didn't David Lester also play bass?
That's why we don't work.
Leather jackets and haircuts.
David Lester, didn't he play bass?
Yes.
So it was a super group.
Yeah, it really was. And I didn't know that at the time, but I showed up. They had like the noon slot.
Yeah.
And it was a
Yeah.
monsoon
Yep.
on the creek. There was literally nobody there.
They got screwed. Yeah.
Right. And I knew you guys were playing after them. So I was like, I need to stick around and hear these guys live. Because the record, the Twin Radio record,
Dude,
was so good.
we
I'm like,
put-
how will they do this?
So we put so much into that, and that was for me the peak of my singing career to date. Simply because I was trying to do as much as possible with my voice, and in the process learning so much about how to sing properly and how to sing the way I wanted, because so much of it was, okay, I want to, at the time I had this philosophy, any new project, I'm going to invent a new singing tone. I want to sound different for this project. And of course your voice is going to sound like your voice, but I thought, well, I'm not going to sing soft for a heavy progressive rock project.
Right.
But I did sing soft because we were trying to, so at the time, and this is an important point to this story, I was telling a story that I made up in my head, and that's what that whole record is about. And
Yeah, that was a concept record, wasn't it?
precisely.
Which record's not a concept record with Corey Highland, Colin?
Not anymore.
Hell yeah, good for you.
Well, so anyway, so I want to close the book on Twin
Let's
Radio.
close the book and let's get to the first song. Well, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about is the story. I keep saying that. I told you I'm done with stories. And this is all leading up to where I'm at now
Yeah.
with what I'm writing now. And the first song I want to play is I think the name is "Collecting Useless Trinkets."
Okay. Is that you? Is that all you?
Yes, I'm. So this is me and B. I've been writing songs for 7 years. It started right before Sam Powen did, and I decided
Yeah, I remember
I'm telling the story of what I'm going through right now,
Yep.
which we'll get into after. But this is the first piece of that.
Okay. Can you give us the name one more time?
Collecting Useless Trinkets.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing parts of this riff, I think. Or at least parts of some of these songs. I was like, hey, man, I'm playing guitar again. And then I was like, okay, sick. And then you're like, no, really?
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Because this was in the Mount Airy studios.
Yeah, that's correct.
But
Almost as nice as the Could Be Better studios.
Hey, fuck
actually.
off.
I said almost.
You can get
I
fucked.
said
Right.
Thank you.
almost
Thank
as
you.
nice.
Yeah, all right. We're gonna end this
No
episode now.
compliment can be accepted here. Apparently.
Nope. Compliment free zone.
Is this real oak?
Nope. But with that though, it's like so.
It
This
is an
wasn't
organ though.
This wasn't like Jamie King studio quality. I think. I mean, you did this recording yourself.
The demoest of demos.
Hell yeah.
But I needed something to show you
Sure.
what I'm working on.
I was wondering if you were gonna like bring out. So what's funny is like I still see other members of your second band posting like, oh, I guess our stuff's now on streaming platforms now. So I didn't know if you were going to bring like one of like the old like Aniran songs or something like that.
No.
And I was like, thank you for not doing that.
I only want to talk about what's current.
Hell yeah. Look at you. New stuff guy.
Yeah.
We're not playing the old hits.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to play shit nobody knows.
Well, do you feel comfortable doing that though?
Well, do you have a capo? That would make me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, like how do you get to that point where you're like, I'm okay putting this music, this art, myself essentially out into the world? Because you said it was a different process.
It's been really difficult because Sampow was like the beginning of the decline for me. And the big thing I want to talk about, and the reason I'm being so serious, is I've been thinking a lot about this. I was either going to talk about it or I wasn't, but I really think it's important to talk about is just the state of my mental health.
Please do. Honestly, please do.
And that's why it's interesting I'm on a podcast with Chris, because he was there for the beginning of the big decline for me when I spiraled into a mental breakdown and then went to the psych ward. And out of that, coming out with a few diagnoses and then ultimately being put on the trials of trying medications for 2 years, I like became like unhinged, unraveled. And it, anybody who's been to one of the last few Samuel Power shows, like the last year and a half, I apologize if things were fucking weird because I used it. And I apologize if you felt uncomfortable, but also fuck you, because the best thing I had out of Samuel Powers, out of all four of you guys, was that you knew what I was going through. You knew I was like on the edge. And when I showed up in an outfit and called myself Deep Fisherman Jim, you guys were like, no, this is cool. Just do it. And I can't thank all of you guys enough, whoever's even fucking listening. But and you guys know, but that I couldn't have done without it. And that, to me, to circle back to your first question, is why Samuel Powers was so important to me. Because even to the bitter end, I felt such support out of that. And it has only catapulted me forward on the journey, which has led me to answer the question you asked about the putting the music out. When I got out of the hospital, the first thing I decided was, okay, I need to write about this. I don't know where this is going. I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 5 years. I need to write about it, almost like a journal, and tell the story of it. Whatever that means. I don't even know what that meant.
Right.
And some of the, like I said, I've been working on it so long. Some of the stuff is bad. I had like physical tremors from medication side effects that I was like, okay, every riff is going to be a bendy riff because that's all I can play right now on guitar. Because at the time I wasn't really good at guitar either. I'm not saying I'm good now, but I'm much more legible on it. I treat it like a real instrument now. Yeah. Which was my COVID project.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what I remember is like towards the end of St. Paul stuff. It was like, hey, I'm writing on this new stuff. And it was like some of the riffs I could hear you playing only with your index finger.
Right. Yeah. It was a learning curve.
Yeah.
It was a learning process.
Yeah.
Long story short, I've been off medication for 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
I'm never looking back.
Sure.
I'm not saying medication isn't right for some people, but for me, it was not how I wanted to live.
Right.
And that I think I'm trying to get the point across that the whole point of that last song is it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And beyond that, it's okay to talk about what you're going through. And I guess, not to be cliche, but I really want to normalize that. And that's what this is all about.
Can I ask you how you got comfortable with that then? How did you get to that place where you said I can share these feelings, or I could even talk about this on this podcast? And
I'm so uncomfortable with it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm so uncomfortable with it. I some of these songs too, and I'm trying to clean them up, were really hard to even record the vocals because I'm done telling concept stories. I'm telling my story. And to do that, I have to be really honest with myself because and you don't even mean to as a lyricist. When you're writing something, you censor yourself without thinking about it because you've got these thoughts and they're always going through your mind when you're writing something of, oh, well, so-and-so is going to listen to this. Definitely. So-and-so is going to hear me talk about this. Mm-hmm. And I don't want so-and-so to see that part of me because, you know, I care about them or I don't want them to know I was ever feeling that way. And so it has to be, for me, I had to come to terms with, okay, this is for me to look at what I am experiencing and what I am going through and actually face it so that I can heal from it. So I have to be honest about it. And I didn't think about it at the time, but coming to the podcast, I was like, shit, now I got to fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
That makes it even more real.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's tough because it's like the leading up toward, I mean, like you said, like the bitter end of everything. It's like that was part of the stuff we were trying to do with Sam Powell towards the end was like, hey, we're done writing stories. We're done writing things. We're actually going to write news, like write things that I think as we said it in the basement of my house was like, shit that's real. And to try it out. And so now it feels great to me is like, as we listen to the song, it's like, I'm hearing you sing these things that like, they're not stories. I know it's your story. Cause like, I remember, driving back and forth from Hagerstown and hearing about some of these things as like, we're figuring out all those things. I'm proud of you for being able to put that out there because it's very different. So it's like, you've always done.
I'm going to kiss him.
I know.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's looking at me saying.
But is it also liberating though? Like, is it one of those things like once you get this out, like, does it feel so much better? Even like you got a best friend like Chris right here that's like, I heard
one of his best friends like Chris.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to be bitter about that for a while.
It's factual, not bitter. Just calling it what it is.
I have a lot of best friends.
I
mean it every time.
I'm just one of them. It's fine.
Is there a release?
Are you asking for? Is there going to be a physical release?
No,
an actual like on
a mental release. When you do these songs, and you put them in front of Chris, or you put them in front of your friends.
No, I know what you mean. Well, this is the first time we've talked about it since I've shown you anything, so I don't know. To me, I still it hasn't registered that you've even heard any of this.
Yeah, well, and I think that's like the hardest change of not actively being in a band and writing new music, because I think if I was in your shoes, it's like before it's like, hey, we're trying out this stuff at practice, right? It's it's that safe space. Hey, we're trying out this thing, we're working out that melody. And now it's like, I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in that band during a pandemic, but like, okay.
No. Once it died, right, we had nothing.
Right.
Once pandemic hit. And that was the big thing for me. I thought, okay, well, I obviously can't go to any band practice, so I have to get good at songwriting. Whatever that means to me. I have to study songwriting and try to produce what I think is a good song. And there's a lot to that theory, which is a whole other conversation, but that's where it started.
Yeah. But I think like part of it too is like with his question of just Colin's question of like, is it a release? And it's like, I could hear these songs and I could kind of feel like, oh, this is Corey like working out his shit for like the first time. And I'm not degrading the other songs you've written, but it is very different where it's like you said, there's no story to hide behind. And it's like we have had friends in our circle that like did that pretty often and hid behind those stories. And that's cool if that's how you really process your stuff. But then when you find out there's monsters in your closet, that kind of sucks.
Well, I'm going to speak to that though. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, but I think for me, the story, because I'll go back and listen to that Twin Radio album. I listen to it annually. B and I always text each other, hey, I'm doing my annual listen every year.
Do you dig it though? Do you dig it when you listen to it?
Dude, 10 years out, because it's been about that long.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't change anything. And here's why. Technically, I knew that I was on top of what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And that was the peak of what I could do at the time. And I had the greatest guys at the time that I knew to do it with. So I'm exceedingly grateful to have even had the room with them for that album in particular. But also in the stories, I can't say it enough. I still have so much of my own truth in there that it's like screaming at me in the face now. And that is such a weird thing to be listening to your past self tell you things about you.
But that's not liberating. Like that was the word I used before.
Liberating. Okay, it is so liberating, and
that's the release, right?
That was what helped, was to go back and listen and say, no, this is going to be okay. You can talk about this. You've already been talking about it, and people know. I think people probably know more about what I'm talking about than I do sometimes in those songs, and that is weird.
Yeah, well, that's the hard thing though about like I think being a lyricist and writing through things is like, as going through therapy, as like we have all done, it's like there's the reality of like the truth and what to tell yourself, but sometimes it's really hard to like listen to yourself. And so I think that's just a true testament. It's like as you're looking back to Twin Radio, it's like, oh, yourself, your past self was telling your future self what you needed to hear, but it's also like you're also telling your current self what you needed to hear, but then like you were in it, so you didn't hear it. And so that can be tricky. And
I would sum it up as these three words have been echoing through my head, and I'm going to sound like a super spiritual self-help book writer right now, but it's honestly, this is what's been getting me through recently, is just I keep thinking again, words echoing through my brain. It's these 3 like peaks of healing is the first. That's the driving force for me. I want to heal. I want to be,
Sure.
And that's a lifelong thing. But I'm so much further along than I was back in Sampa when I was falling apart every night.
Yeah.
I'm at a place now where I'm like, no, I've been seeing it through. And I think that's a distinction I'd like to make with the older songs. Sure, I'm talking about it, but now I'm facing it. I'm growing through it. And then the second word is kindness. And that's a big one. I want to perpetuate kindness, but that has to start within, with myself.
Yeah, there's no resentment.
There's gonna be, but you gotta like.
What do you do with that then? How do you combat that?
I can't sleep, and I try to wrestle through it, and then I won't play you those demos. But yeah, it's all, and that's what I'm trying to get to. The third one is singing about it, singing. And that, to me, talking, whatever your form is. When COVID happened and we couldn't play out anymore, I just like let it go because of how Sampow imploded at the end. I was just like, well, this is what it is. Okay, I'm going to practice guitar and write songs. But it wasn't long before I was like, I hate my 9 to 5. I hate
everything.
Everything. Yeah. I hate my destructive relationship that's going to blow up in my face 2 years later. And then at the end of all that, I'm at the point now, and this will lead right up into the second song that I want to play.
Here we go.
Look
what
at
is
this
it?
Natural break.
What is it?
Professional.
You are
fucking-fessional.
I couldn't even complete that. Go ahead.
You've been drinking too much water.
Well, that's true.
Wine.
Wine.
No, so I was just reaching a point where I was having to be blunt with myself and acknowledge that, yeah, dude, you are worse without music. You're worse without performing. Like, you were made to perform. You were made to sing. You're made to front. I'm a greedy slut about being a front man. I fucking love it. It's one of my favorite things because I love interacting with people. I love spilling my guts on the floor and then them smiling back at me and or crying, whatever the mood is, and dancing with me and passing shots between each other and then occasionally to me, which is so much fun. I love that we are all like so connected in that moment and stuck in my room, stuck in my house. I think everybody can relate to this, right? But I had to realize, no, dude, you got to get out there again. Yeah. And that was hard. And so then my longtime friend, one of my best friends, Britton.
Like the country. I'm in that same group.
Yeah.
Where do I land? Am I Ireland?
You?
Hell. That's
you
funny.
You got Irish in you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm driving your show.
No, this is great.
No. Yeah.
So set up the second song, man.
So Britton asked me to play keys on some songs that him and our friend Jeremy were writing.
Which is in an incredible band called Chrome Rodeo, which is one of our first musical guests that we've ever had on this podcast.
I can't remember that
because
far.
they weren't on the show, but we played one of the first songs they put out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because so the first episode we ever did was we had a run of shows booked at New Spire Arts.
Oh, so you were kind of trying to promote the bands that were going to be playing.
Yep, and then
That's cool.
And then I think the week of that we taped it, we had to retape some of it because all the shows got canceled. Yeah, and so then we said, hey, we're going to still play these bands that were on there. And so we kind of did like a radio show, and then it kind of turned into what it is. But yeah, anyway, so continue. So you were playing keys on Chrome Rodeo, on a Chrome Rodeo song.
This is a Chrome Rodeo song?
This is a Chrome Rodeo song, and I have to give a shout out to Britton and Jeremy because without them asking me to be a part of this, I would still be in my room, not working up the courage to even try and finish my songs. So this got me out playing again, and I'm forever grateful. This song is called Heat.
On the train telling me to run. I'll never admit it. I'll never admit it. Got a phone call from a friend saying he might not make it. I wish I didn't get it. I wish I didn't get it. 'Cause I've been hurt too many times. Yeah, I've crashed too many times. be scared, you know I'm not that far behind. It's everything I do, I swear it's in my mind. No, I wouldn't be standing here if I was not a part of you. But all I seem to resonate is what I take from you. 'Cause I've been hurt too many times. Yeah, I've crashed too many times. If I cried the last time, if I make you cry, I swear it's the last time. Just give me a minute, pull me aside, ask me to go out. I know I lied, just wake me the fuck up. I know it's time, tell me to grow up. I think I'm fine. Don't be scared, you know I'm not that far behind. It's everything I do, I swear it's in my mind. Got a phone call from a friend, said he just got naked. And God, I'm so glad to hear it. God, I'm so glad to hear it. Sorry it hurt too many times.
I was told to mention that I.
Fuck off.
Okay.
You weren't told to mention anything.
Either way, that was Chrome Rodeo. If you want to look them up, go to www.
Couldbebettermeh.com.
That's exactly right. Now, what I want to ask you, Corey, with all of this, because we've talked so much about the process of getting to where you are now,
Yeah.
what is the future? Do you feel comfortable going forward as a songwriter? Do you feel comfortable pursuing this in a way that is healthy?
Shut the fuck up! God.
Well, that was
Sorry, guys. It's unprofessional. Our studio isn't very insulated, and we have people that just drive
Are those
by.
the caterers
Chris
leaving?
is angry tonight. Yeah, that was catering that just
Jeez.
left.
Yeah, we have
Jeez.
our spread
The
out.
wings weren't even good.
At first,
They
I
were
thought
cold.
Chris was saying that to me. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I did too. I
And he
jumped
had
a little bit.
He had a baseball bat. in
I
his
thought I
hand.
was going to
upset.
have to dive over the table and protect you.
No, well, when Pizza Blitz caters, we expect them to be giving
That's
them
right.
their good stuff.
Hit us up.
Yeah.
Hit us up
All
at
right, so
thetastingroom.com.
So longevity, what's next?
Yeah.
Well, I want to see this one through. I have too many songs and I'm trying to roll out with it.
That's a solo project, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And
okay.
what's
Yeah.
and what's it called? Because you and I have talked about
Yeah.
this before, but we haven't mentioned it yet on this
This-
episode. So
yeah.
the
So
first
that-
song, which is part of this project, Chrome
Yeah.
Rodeo is the project you're currently in. But then
It's not entirely solo.
Oh,
because
100%.
I write the songs and then I have B over and he pretties up all of the guitar parts.
Does he retrack? So are all the guitars we're hearing Brandon Fingerman retracked?
It's a mixture of
That's cool.
things, which has been really cool because sometimes, and it's a real humbling moment for me because he's such a great guitarist and
He's so
musician.
good.
Sometimes I'll have a part and I'm like, okay, do you want to retrack it? And he goes, dude, I think it was perfect. And I want to cry every time because I'm like, no, you can't mean that.
But it's so genuine whenever he
It
says
is,
it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that project is called The Ugly Little Devils or just Ugly Little Devils, depending on how you like to use words like the
So it's the ULD.
old.
Old.
Yeah.
Old.
And then so what's next is I'm putting a lot of, this is another really humbling experience. So that Twin Radio record got me a job as a vocal instructor at the Rock School. And I know you've had a lot of the Rock School guys on.
Shout
here,
out to
guys
Scott,
and
our
gals.
almost sponsor for this
Thank
month
you so
of
much
shows
for returning our text messages, Scott. Let's go back to Corey
and phone
now.
calls.
No, Scott gave me a shot. And that was really great because it put me in contact with a lot of people who are doing great things. And they've been doing so many great things since I met them, and they never fucking stop. They're all doing so many different projects all the time. And you mentioned it before on several of the podcasts with several of those Rock School guests, how much they're like showing up for each other. in
Oh,
their
most
projects.
definitely,
And
yeah.
it's
a
so
family.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
a family,
very
man.
much so.
It is.
And I thought I was out because that was like 2015 when I
Long
worked
time.
there. I thought I was out. But then shout out to Shane and Logan from the Rock School. Those dudes, they like looked me up. I don't know if they had like a posse rolling up and down the streets of Frederick looking for what house I was in, but they found out and they were like, dude, do a cover band with us. And I was like, I fucking hate cover bands. And they were like, yeah, but we want you to do a cover band, which those guys are so talented that it was like kind of nerve wracking to walk into the room with my keyboards. Cause I'm like, oh shit, I haven't taught in years. I don't know. And so I was just like, guys, and they're like, just shut up and play. So we're working on this. Like we do modern pop, but with a funky edge.
So what's one of the songs you cover?
I'll tell
Uptown
you
Funk?
I'll tell you two of the songs we cover.
Uptown Funk.
We call it the dual Dua Lipa session.
Oh.
So it's levitating and what?
Don't start now.
Oh, wow.
It's a real.
No.
So no, this is.
Dude, we owe her like $50,000 just now. Dude, I love
That's
that
true.
song. That bass line levitating is so fucking sick.
Right. So
It's
now
so
I've
sick.
got these guys, and another shout out to the drummer Luca, who he hails from the metal band with Logan that I won't utter their name here. No, I'm just kidding. Devil's Reef.
Devil's
Really talented
Reef.
guys.
Dude, they are the nicest dudes ever.
They are the nicest dudes.
The singer comes out to a lot of the Could Be Better shows, and I go,
Yeah,
Devil's Reef.
Yeah, that's Logan. I
Yeah,
know.
and-
He told me he loves when you do that. But anyway,
Devil's Reef.
no, it's been a great experience because it has helped me really. Like I said, I've been living under a rock for 3 years. It has helped me shake off the cobwebs because they're like, oh, yeah, let's do this song again by Dua Lipa or by Bruno Mars. And I'm like, oh, shit, you mean I actually have to like,
Learn something new.
I got to sing? And you know from doing covers, I'm terrible at memorizing lyrics. Sorry,
The worst.
guys, if you're listening. I'm sorry that you know the secret now. I'm really bad at memorizing words. But that band is going to be an experience. I have big dreams for that.
And you're not playing. Have you played a show with that band yet?
No, it's really new. And that's why I wish we had more together for it. But I still want to talk about it because
Sure.
I'm really grateful to be a part of it. But
Yeah.
we're called Captain Electric and the Space Boots. And we're coming to a galaxy near you very soon.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the perfect way to actually get into the last song because it sounds like it might be David Bowie.
It's not David Bowie yet.
Oh, well then.
No, I don't. Like I said, this project's so new. I will have demo tracks soon. And that's hard to do in a cover band. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, it is. You know what? Let's talk about that for a second because I was just asked to play drums with tracks for
Yeah.
a band. I will not name any of these people or any of these things. I think Chris knows who
Thank
I'm
you.
talking about. But what did you say?
Said thank you.
No, good.
Yeah.
I thought you accidentally.
I don't need to answer nasty emails.
That's it. Yeah, I had to
wasn't-
play
he's
the
not.
tracks, dude. I had to play the tracks, and the monitors were not working that well. And if you're a drummer and you can't hear the tracks,
The whole thing unravels.
how do you think that goes? So
Not
that I mean,
good, Jim.
there were varying degrees of success, and I mean
Well,
minimal degrees.
so that's the
Success.
live aspect of it. But have you been a part of cover bands?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't. This is my first one.
Oh, really? No, cover bands are so much fun because here's the thing about cover bands. You're going to play songs that people love, and you know that.
Right, of course.
Like,
That's the point.
it, yeah.
But my question is, what do you do about like demos? Do you even do them? Does it
Oh,
depend
Why
on the
would
act?
you do demos for a cover band?
Yeah. So Corey and I are coming from the world of like everything's original, and so you're only putting out original stuff.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
original.
Uh-huh.
But then when you're in this new like cover band world, it's like how do you advertise yourself? And so then it's like we get emails from fuckers all the time. Hey, I'm in this band called
Are
Tits
you
Me-
listening, fuckers?
Yeah. Are you listening, fuckers? Mark Maron here from What the Fuck Podcast. But it's like I did listen to a Mark Maron podcast today. I think that's why I'm so fucky about stuff. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
You were in a shitty
I noticed.
mood.
I'm very
there was
You
something.
were, you were good for the first segment, but after that, it's done now,
yeah.
man.
But
I'm going to tell Joe to listen to this. And
Yeah,
be like,
Joe,
hey,
get at me. But anyway, so it's like when people are like, "Hey, I'm John from Tits McGee, and we play all these great covers that sound like funk and this, and your most popular favorite things. Book us, pay us $1,500."
Listen to how cynical he
Listen,
is.
listen.
to
Wait,
how
wait, wait.
cynical he
But
is.
but when that happens though, it's always YouTube links, and so I was like, "Hey, here's a song of us playing this cover. Here's a play." And my favorite,
Right.
and
It
my
would be important as a promoter to you.
sure to know that hey, they're not bad, but at the same time, like, hey, if you're a cover band, that's fine. My favorite though, and this is what I would say because you're not asking for advice, but you're just asking like, hey, like,
you freely give it every time.
always, always for free. You're welcome, by the way. But it's like
He says for free. Colin, let me tell you something.
It ain't for free,
it's
man.
never free.
It
It's
ain't
never
for
free,
man.
So my favor is I get some fuckers, girlfriend, wife, partner,
Are you
whatever.
videoing?
Are you filming us
Yeah.
right now without our consent?
But listen. But
He's
they
holding up his camera.
But
facing
I
us.
know. I
it's
don't
not
know
a
what this-
camera.
I don't know why
It's a
this
cell
is
phone.
happening.
It's a cell phone, people.
Yeah, cell phones
anyway,
are cameras.
Let me take
so-
off my pants. Should I
please.
take off my
So anyway,
pants?
so they do this thing, and it's either
You still have your pants on?
It's
Right.
wife, partner, girlfriend, terrible friend, and they have their phone, and the video's like this. And the best part about
he's
it,
still
I
talking
shake
about
way
the-
too
yeah,
much.
and so you can't hold anybody. Yeah, it's like you filming it for somebody, Colin.
Wow.
Fuck off.
Remember this when
Okay,
I'm
listen.
diagnosed with something very serious, okay?
Well,
Just remember this, okay?
if we're talking about diagnoses, so this is fine. Anyway, so we got Tremors over here holding the camera, and and the worst part about this,
God.
here's how it goes. It's on the front, and there's one person running back and forth taking photos with their like really expensive camera, and then that's it.
I think I just figured out why people like Scott don't want to sponsor you guys.
No.
I think it's because you go off shitting on people
dude.
with ailments
I
and
didn't
disabilities.
name any names. I didn't name.
You didn't
any
have
names.
to. You're
People
fucking
know
you're
who they
fucking
are.
calling people out with Tourette's and
Oh.
Parkinson's. It's fucked up.
Listen, the new iPhones have stabilizing, and you can do it all.
So
now.
anyway,
But listen, my point is,
I
is
think
that
it would be important to have a demo of you doing something if what you're doing
Sure.
is different than the original.
yeah,
That's
or,
what all I'm trying to figure out.
or even if it's the same, just
Colin's
some sort of representation of what it is. But the point of the camera is you're recording and you're in the front row and there's nobody there. And so it looks embarrassing and it doesn't look good. So what I'm trying to say is anybody that wants to start
this
a cover band.
is, I think, I hear what you're saying. I think it's a little out of place. It should go
Oh,
in
no,
your
no.
editorial column
No,
about cover bands and YouTube.
This is our show. And so
Wrap this shit up.
yeah, no.
I
So
gotta go to work tomorrow. Let's wrap this shit up, man.
this is our show, and people that are in cover bands need to send better videos. Don't send videos of nobody in front of you and not having a good time. It's awful.
I'm sleeping in the studio tonight. You've worn me out.
It's awful. Please don't. If this is supposed to be your job, you might need to find a new one. That's all I have to say.
Jeez.
I'm just telling you. There's like
Me?
So what's this
It's
last
not-
song? Corey, what's this last
Yeah.
song?
it's called
jeez.
iPhone Video Shakes.
Gotta sidestep for a minute.
Video
I can
shakes.
go out and
I
get some
feel
air.
so seen.
It's the remix.
It's none of that. Not yet.
It
Because
could
Chris
be.
will be at the first show and he'll be filming
I'll
it
be-
all
I'll-
shaky.
Chris will shame everybody.
He will.
That's what he'll do.
I'll shame it. I'll buy.
He'll come in with a fucking gimbal.
That's what I
and
was
have
about to
his
say.
iPhone
Thank
on
you
the
so
gimbal.
much. And you don't even have to pay for it. It'll be free.
And I won't take it
Yeah, and then you'll
because nothing with you is ever free.
no. There's.
It's not.
I mean, there's strings, but they're loose strings.
Uh-huh.
Like they're the ones you can't see.
So I wrote this last song. It's kind of like
It's a great
it-
transition.
It's a love song. I wrote it after kind of being around some beautiful relationships that I think I really look up to and aspire to attain for myself because I'm a hopeless fucking romantic.
Fuck yeah.
So I wrote this song about kind of everything that I've gone through and wanting to share the other side of that with somebody that would mean a lot to me.
What's it called?
It's called Chrome right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep that name.
But so this being said, though, so this is another demo.
This is a demo. I'm getting drums back for all this.
Oh, yeah,
so
by
by the time this airs, I'll have
one of
newer
your other best
versions.
friends, Dylan.
Yeah, one of my closest best friends.
Uh,
How's that feel?
yeah, I mean, he's my brother. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same last name,
That's true.
Dylan Perry. He's my boy. It was Mama Anna came out to the show, and it was so cool to see her. I've not seen
I
her
know.
since forever.
Well, so that Chrome Rodeo show you're talking about, that was actually such a great, long time coming experience for me and B in particular because we'd never played with Dylan. That was our second show with Dylan.
Oh, that's amazing.
We always played with his brother in the touring bands before.
Yep.
But oh my god, it was like a dream come true. Because I'm like a fanboy for that guy.
Oh, everything he does is amazing.
I'm in love with his arms. I'm in love with his legs.
Dude,
and
he's-
then watching him use them on the drums. He's an incredible drummer.
Yeah, but also he is a fascinating specimen.
I can't stop yelling when we play together on the stage. I yell at him, and afterwards he was like, "Dude, what was wrong?" I was like, "I'm just so excited to because I set my keys up so I can stare right at him.
He's always been in the coveted list of you want that guy in a band.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but that being said, though, so with Dylan, he's tracking drums for these songs, which is cool because
Yes.
he's got his own setup. So shout out to, I don't know his Instagram handle off the top of my head, but I think he's probably taking offers for people that
Danger Juice 301.
There it is. So Danger Juice 301. Follow him.
I'm not obsessed.
And
no, he has a
and,
lot of great drum
yeah,
videos.
tons
I
of
called that phone number
And
once
Alex
and I was
Rudinger?
charged $55.
Yeah,
Alex Rudinger, he wants to meet you.
Yeah. I mean, we can hook that up.
Who?
I think I would love to take you both out to dinner.
Wait.
Dylan Perry wants to meet Alex Rudinger.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Oh, you're not.
He sweats.
Alex doesn't want to come on this podcast.
No,
He
not
doesn't.
here. We're gonna go out to Olive Garden for endless breadsticks.
Oh, sure,
We're gonna-
that's fine.
we're gonna
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about-
and it's buy one get one line. So anyway, that being said, Dylan's shut the fuck up. I'm trying to get out of this segment. So we have
How's Alex doing?
Stop.
How you doing, Alex?
We
miss you.
So Alex, please help me. Tell him to shut up. Dylan's playing drums on these songs soon, but for right now, it's just MIDI drums.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, so MIDI drums are on here.
I don't think it matters that much.
It's gonna be great.
I think the world of 40 listeners.
Yeah,
Will
I
It's
just
like
wanna,
accept that
it's
it's a
like
demo.
40 times a million. But
I want to
we're-
thank Corey for asking me to play drums on his songs. Fuck off.
You know
There
what?
we go.
I actually did ask you, and you said I don't want to be a part of some conglomerate. Quote
check,
unquote.
Check your text
quote,
right now.
unquote.
Check your text. So with
So
this,
I gotta go to bed.
yeah. So with this wrap up, where is your stuff anywhere on the internet?
it is. I would recommend you follow my personal first because everything will be launched from there directly to their respective
Sure.
projects,
Sure.
Instagrams, and that's Trent Frank, like the douchebag who bought your girlfriend a drink at the bar. CHRENT Frank.
As in Anne's last name.
That's me.
Okay. And these people can follow you there, and that's where they'll find all links and things to Ugly Little Devils and your cover band,
Captain Electric and the Space Boots,
Captain Electric,
as well as Chrome Rodeo.
and Chrome Rodeo. Look at that. Professional bands, professional man, professional friend.
Pictures of me
Pictures of your dog. Rest in peace.
kissing you soon.
Corey, this was an experience. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
It's absolutely nothing that I had expected.
thank you for reactivating your Instagram.
Can I put my pants back on?
Yes.
Oh my god! Can we end this fucking episode?
Yeah. This song is called Crumb, and Corey, I love you very much.
This has to be some kind of trick. I'm shaking from the weight of it.
This head is so heavy.
Another bite off of the bread, or down a Chrome Dex instead. I'll watch the window play again. Between the folds, I hear the piano key tapping. Raindrop sounds on cold ground. It feels so empty in here without you. Yeah, I feel come closer now. Let me see you. Without love on the edge of night. No other light but you. Sometimes I wonder if I'll make it out of the void that eats me now. And then we paint our names under the stairs. That piece of us is always there. So won't you come closer now? Let me see
Be Better podcast is produced live from the Could Be Better studios that are definitely not a bedroom in Frederick, Maryland.
Check out our website, www.couldbebettermeh.com, for links to our social media, as well as a calendar of events and our contact information for those interested in guesting or supporting the Could Be Better movement.
Sure, whatever the hell that is. If you like what you hear, though, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, or however you're listening to this right now. And don't hesitate to leave us a 5-star review because, believe it or not, it actually really helps.
Tune in every Thursday for a new episode where we...
Okay, that's enough. We've been talking for way too long.
Okay. I'm Chris Perry.
And I'm Colin McGuire, and we are out of time. So for now, remember, as always, everybody, this could be better.